All aboard! Hi, my name is Tom Badnock. I'm a retired engineer, but I've been involved with model railroading ever since I got my first model railroad when I was a 5-year-old kid living here in Ottawa. I think it's part of where I came from, and I enjoy it as a hobby that has a creative aspect in the sense of designing a layout, designing all the structures, the track plans, but also it's a social opportunity. For my generation, that was a very common thing. It was very common for a young boy to get a train set around the Christmas tree, which is how mine arrived. Typical of a lot of young boys, once I hit adolescence, I became a little distracted with education and girls and cars and school and getting married, starting a family. And I was out of the hobby for about 25 years. And then when I was in my late 30s, my father handed me back the box of old railway stuff and said, get out of my basement. And I took it home and started doing useful things with it. I grew up in the time when there were still steam locomotives, which are much more exciting to look at with all the things moving and the clanking and the banging and the steam. You're a long way out of town, Gary. We do get together and operate this and other railways, but it's just to mimic the operation of a CNR branch line in Canada in 1960. When I operate here, I need 6 operators to operate. I'm going to a friend's tomorrow night. It'll take 22 of us to run his railway. So it's a social activity. They're cheerful sessions. They're not high-intensity things. Some people try to run their railways even closer to the real prototypes. That can be a little more structured. I don't do that, and the places I operate with aren't that terribly structured either. We got a shitload of cars not even in town yet. It's hands-on. I think a lot of people now that are into the computer games, and I'm one of them some of the time, but you lack the opportunity to design and actually make something physical and to feel it with your hands. So I got most of this stuff built in about 11 months. Parts of this railway started probably 20 years ago. 8 years ago, I ripped most of that out. Decided since I had less floor space to work with that I will double deck this railway. Because, as I said to my wife at the time, number one, she needed more space, but number two, I kind of like the building. I like the puzzle solving. You know, how do I get those 8 cars out and these 7 cars in and get the minimum number of moves back and forth? The mindset that led me to engineering lends me to solving switching problems. I'm a linear thinker, I think, in terms of abstractions. But yeah, I think it's the same mindset. I don't think engineering feeds this, but the same mind goes in both directions. The active modelers, it's an aging population. The younger generation, in very large measure, are simply not showing much interest. That said, I have a grandson who seems very intrigued. He comes down here, fires it up, plays by the hour. So maybe he'll continue with it. Who knows?